Hello everyone, welcome to Advanced Knowledge Systems and a warm welcome to AKS Academy, and it offers examination coaching for UPSC CSE, State Public Service Commission, SSC Combined Graduate Level and CLAT examinations. And about me, I'm Sandeep Bhushan Tumala, and I take up the analysis of the Hindu newspaper, that is the daily newspaper analysis of today's, that is 7th of April 2021. And throughout my session, I would be emphasizing on the keywords and key phrases, which will be very, very useful for identifying the factual, analytical and conceptual questions, which will be critical for UPSC prelims perspective. And while you get into the mode of imbibing the keywords and the key phrases in your answer writing for the mains examination, your answers for the mains would be precise and concise, and therefore you would score higher marks in the mains examinations. So the session at AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis will certainly help you to crack both the prelims as well as mains of 2021. And before we get into the DNA of the newspaper, we would be focusing at the quote of the day. And the quote of the day says that it's going to be hard, but hard does not mean impossible. So whenever there is a situation or a scenario when the things are getting harder, that doesn't mean that it is going to be impossible. Please move ahead, and then definitely it will be possible and you will attain success. And now we'll get into the DNA of the newspaper. And here the keyword is that the health ministry has taken a decision that there will not be any kind of move to vaccinate all adults as of now. So here there is a concern by the health ministry that the kind of criticism which has been across the country, that all the adults have to be vaccinated. But the health ministry has taken into consideration, keeping in view few of the cases, that they will not be vaccinating or they will not take any move right now at this moment to vaccinate all adults in India. And in India, as there is a growing public clamor that all adults have to be made or they should be vaccinated, or they have to be administering of the vaccine to all the adults. Because of this growing public clamor against the government of India, the health ministry has made a statement saying that as of now there is no move to vaccinate all adults in India. And the Union Health Ministry has also said on April 6, 2021 that India was following a scientific protocol. So here we need to look at what or how the health ministry has answered rationally, taking into consideration the public clamor which is growing that all the adults have to be vaccinated. But the Union Health Ministry has said that the government of India is following the scientific protocol in regards to administering vaccine. And because it is following the scientific protocol, it is not possible to suddenly ramp up the vaccination as the public clamor that entire adults or all the adults have to be vaccinated. So the answer to the public clamor is from the Union Health Ministry saying that the government of India is following a scientific protocol on administering vaccination. So the key phrase is the scientific protocol which is been followed by the government of India in regards to the administering vaccines and the vaccination program which has been taken up in India. And now we will look at what is that scientific protocol and how the health ministry is also focusing on the public clamor and making a statement that the government of India is following the WHO protocol, that is World Health Organization protocol. And in regards to this, the Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan has said that all the countries are or who had employed a restrictive criteria. So definitely there is a process which is taken into consideration for administration of vaccine across all the countries, and that is called the restrictive criteria. And what is the criteria? The criteria is which is being employed in all the countries is prioritize. That is, first they will prioritize which section of the people has to be administered vaccine. That is, and WHO protocol is that all the countries are prioritizing the criteria to administer the vaccine first to elderly people, healthcare workers, and then later on with the persons or the individuals who are with comorbidities. And the same kind of priority or the restrictive criteria is also followed in India. This is the statement made by the Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan in regards to or in response to the public clamor to vaccinate or to administer the vaccine to all the adults. And as the scientific priority goes on, that only the elderly people, health workers, and then the comorbidities which are being followed, the restrictive criteria across all countries is also being followed in India. And this has been followed as per the guidance or the guidelines protocol by the World Health Organization in regards to the prioritizing the restrictive criteria of administering the vaccine, and that will be based on the one who is mostly at risk. So definitely the government of India or the health ministry is focusing on the restrictive criteria which is following the guidelines protocol of the World Health Organization. And the Niti Aayog member has also put forward that in regards to the public clamor against the vaccination being administered to the adults, the Niti Aayog member VK Paul has also claimed that India is the only country administering vaccine to healthy adults over 45. It is not only the restrictive criteria which is the prioritizing the elderly first and then coming in the protocol, that is healthcare workers, and then the third is the comorbidities. But India has also now started, and India is the only country which is administering vaccine to healthy adults over 45 age. But there is a point which has to be underscored, that India, even though it is the only country which is administering vaccine to healthy adults over 45, there are other countries which are administering the vaccine even to the age limit above 16 years. But in India, it is only above 45, above 18 which is restricted. But as of now, it is to the elderly people, healthcare workers, and comorbidities, and now it is healthy adults over 45. But in regards to the other states, that is in US and Israel, if you look at, the vaccination is administered to the one or anyone who is above the age of 16 who is eligible to be vaccinated. Please do understand here, the clause is that above 16 who is eligible to be vaccinated is being taken into consideration in the states or the countries like United States and Israel also. So the point what we need to understand is that all the adults cannot be vaccinated as of now is the statement made by the health ministry, because it is following the scientific protocol and the restrictive criteria and the guidance protocol of the World Health Organization, and then prioritizing the administering of the vaccine first to the elderly people, then to the healthcare workers, and with the next followed with the comorbidities. And now the India is the only country which is administering vaccine to healthy adults over the age of 45. And the another news is that the next Chief Justice of India, or the 48th Chief Justice of India, is being now appointed by the President of India, Ramnath Kovind, on April 6, 2021. And he would be the Chief Justice of India, that is the 48th Chief Justice of India, with effect from April 24, 2021. And now we will look at when he was, the Chief Justice of India is appointed by the President of India. Then what powers, or what is the powers of the President to appoint the Chief Justice of India. So this is the President of India has exercised the powers which is conferred in the clause 2 of Article 124 of the Indian Constitution. And there, as per the clause 2 of the Article 124 of the Indian Constitution, the President of India is pleased to appoint Sri Nutalapati Venkat Ramana, who was the judge of the Supreme Court, or the senior most judge of the Supreme Court, to be appointed as the Chief Justice of India. So here the point which we need to look at, the critical information as per the prelims perspective, that is polity prelims perspective, is that the President of India has appointed or does appoint the Chief Justice of India as per the powers which are conferred to him by the clause of 2 of the Article 124 of the Indian Constitution. And the Chief Justice of India, Justice Ramana, who has been appointed by the President, will have a tenure of 16 months with effect from April 24, 2021. And now we will look at, or we will focus about Sri Nutalapati Venkataramana, who is now been appointed as the 48th Chief Justice of India. He is born in a family of agriculture and is from the Krishna district of Andhra Pradesh. And he has been into several roles right from his student age. And then he was also as a student leader, and he has worked with the farmers, industrial workers, and he has also worked as a journalist in a Telugu newspaper, which was in Andhra Pradesh and in Telangana, or the United Andhra Pradesh then. He has also served as a additional advocate general for Andhra Pradesh, and he was also as the or been part of the state high court bench in the year 2001, and he was the Delhi High Court Chief Justice. That means he has been in the different capacities right from his that means from his school days or the college days. He has taken or he has been in different roles, that is from student leader, working with farmers, working with industrial workers, worked as a journalist, and he was an additional advocate general, and later on he was being part of the state high court bench, and he was also the Delhi High Court Chief Justice. These are the position which he has taken up during his or right from his school days till recently being appointed as the Chief Justice of India. And he was also as the executive chairman of the National Legal Services Authority. And Justice Ramana, as the executive chairman of the National Legal Services Authority, was responsible for making India's legal aid program. This is the key phrase, because he was responsible for making India's legal aid program the largest legal aid program in the world. Please do understand, this is crucial information for prelims perspective, that the India's legal aid program is the largest in the world, and who is responsible for making India's legal aid program the largest in the world is Justice Ramana as the executive chairman of the National Legal Services Authority. And Justice Ramana has also said that his prime objective is to provide easy access to the justice and to improve the judicial infrastructure. So his focus is to provide an easy access to justice and to improve the judicial infrastructure. And he wanted to go ahead with providing the judicial infrastructure and the easy access to the justice through a vehicle or through a process called as the special purpose vehicle. And this is the keyword as a civil servant aspirant. You need to focus for prelims as well as mains perspective, that how the vehicle, that is the special purpose vehicle, will help or provide an easy access to the justice and improve the judicial infrastructure, as taken up as the primary objective by the Justice Ramana. And by the special purpose vehicle, he has called that this special purpose vehicle will be nothing but the National Judicial Infrastructure Corporation, and this will act as a nodal agency so that it will improve the judicial infrastructure in the Indian judiciary, as well as his primary objective is to provide easy access to justice. So these are the areas which you need to focus for prelims perspective, because there could be a question based on the information provided here, or the analysis what we are going is that which among the following statements are incorrect in regards to the 48th Chief Justice of India, that is Sri Nutalapati Venkataramana. So he was as a student leader, he has worked with farmers, industrial workers, as a journalist, he has been in the capacity of additional advocate general, and also as the member of the state high court bench and the Delhi High Court Chief Justice he has worked, and also as the executive chairman. And then his primary objective is that will be attained through a vehicle that is called as a special purpose vehicle, and that is by, or it is called as a National Judicial Infrastructure Corporation, and which will be acting as a nodal agency to improve the judicial infrastructure. So this is from polity perspective. We are focused at the president, which has the power to appoint the Chief Justice of India, and that too as per the clause 2 of Article 124 of the Indian Constitution. And his tenure is 16 months. That is the Chief Justice of India, 48th Chief Justice of India, Sri N. Venkataramana's tenure is 16 months with effect from April 24, 2021. And now we will look at another news which talks about the termination of pregnancy. So here we will look at what is, as per the Medical Termination Act or Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 1971, and what is the Delhi High Court has pronounced its judgment that it has allowed a woman to abort the pregnancy which is more than 24 weeks pregnancy, and the Delhi High Court has allowed to abort more than 24 pregnancy for a woman, taking into consideration the medical board's report. So here the Delhi High Court has taken consideration of the medical board's report, that the report very clearly says that the fetus suffers. That means the baby in the womb who is 24 weeks suffers from substantial abnormalities. So as there are substantial abnormalities in regards to the fetus which is provided by the medical board's report, taking into consideration, the Delhi High Court has allowed a woman to abort who is now with 24 weeks pregnancy, and the Delhi High Court has said that the medical report, that is medical board's report, has indicated that because of the substantial abnormalities of the fetus, the woman is at risk during the pregnancy termination procedure, and as there is a risk to the woman, to the mother, and she is a cardiac patient and she is being administered by a blood thinners. So definitely as the fetus suffers by substantial abnormalities, as well as the woman is, that is the mother who is of 24 weeks pregnancy, is a cardiac patient and she has been administered blood thinners. And due to these reasons, by the medical report, not reason specifically, it is by the medical board's report, the Delhi High Court has allowed the women to abort more than 24 weeks pregnancy. But in India, as per the Medical Termination Pregnancy Act 1971, it stipulates the abortion that it should be ceiling to only 24 or 20 weeks, and if it is beyond 20 weeks, then it is only possible by taking into consideration of the medical board's report. But apart from that, the 20 weeks or beyond 20 weeks termination of pregnancy, that is the abortion of fetus, is statutorily impermissible in India. But as per the medical board's report, the Delhi High Court has allowed the women to abort the women who is now with 24 weeks of pregnancy. And now we will look at what are the plea that has challenged the constitutional validity. Please look at it. This is now crucial for mains perspective also in regards to the polity or in regards to the medical termination or medical pregnancy termination Act 1971. The plea which has been challenged, that is the women has moved the Delhi High Court that as she was in the 24th week of pregnancy, and as per the medical report, she has pleaded or she has challenged the constitutional validity in the Delhi court that the fetus is suffering from facial hemorrhage and by hydrocephalus. So these are the two reasons which the fetus is suffering, that is by facial hemorrhage and by the hydrocephalus, and she has gone ahead with providing the medical examination report and she has challenged the constitutional validity. But before getting into the challenging the constitutional validity, now we will focus at what is that facial hemorrhage and then hydrocephalus. What does it mean? Because there is a possibility that there could be that UPSC might focus and prepare a question on the keyword of facial hemorrhage and hydrocephalus. Which among the following statements are incorrect in regards to the word or the term called as hydrocephalus? So hydrocephalus means it is an abnormal buildup of fluid in the cavities or the ventricles deep within the brain. That means there would be an abnormal buildup of fluid in the brain. And this excess fluid which is abnormal buildup causes the ventricles to widen. Therefore, it will put pressure onto the brain's tissue and it will impact the brain itself. So that is the reason the medical report which has been provided, and the women in turn has pleaded and challenged the constitutional validity in the Delhi High Court, and the Delhi High Court in turn has allowed the women to abort in spite she was 24 weeks of pregnancy. And now we will look at facial hemorrhage. What does this facial hemorrhage means? Hemorrhage means bleeding. In general terms, hemorrhage means bleeding, and it can be called as simply a blood loss. That means it is blood, or it is the blood escaping from the circulatory system. So when there is the blood escaping from the circulatory system, that means the escape of the blood from the circulatory system is because of the damaged blood vessels. Please do understand. And because of the damage of the blood vessels, there is a blood escaping and there is a bleeding, and that is called as hemorrhage. And that is what is been described in the medical board's report, that is facial hemorrhage and hydrocephalus. The fetus is going ahead with the substantial abnormalities, and those substantial abnormalities are the facial hemorrhage and the hydrocephalus which the fetus is experiencing. And we have also looked at the medical term or understanding about hydrocephalus and the hemorrhage. And in turn, now we'll come back to the plea. The plea which was put up by the women has challenged the constitutional validity of certain provisions of the Medical Termination Pregnancy Act of 1971 to restrict the medical termination pregnancy beyond 20 weeks, because she has argued that whatever the ceiling of 20 week is may have been a responsible reason or section when the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act was enacted in the year 1971. That is almost 50 years back. Almost 50 years back, of a century back. She argues, the plea argues that probably the 20-week ceiling of the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 1971 would have been reasonable then, but it has ceased to be responsible today. Look at the way it has been argued, the plea. She has challenged the constitutional validity of the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 1971, saying that the 20-week ceiling might have been responsible and might be correct as per the 1971 Act, but as on today it is not, or it ceased to be reasonable, because the technology has been advanced. As the technology has advanced, and the technology can go ahead with perfectly save the women to abort the women or the abortion of women at any point during the entire period of pregnancy. Look at the way the plea has been argued against the constitutional validity that the 1971 Act of the ceiling of 20 week might have been reasonable, but now it is ceasing to be reasonable because of the technology which has been advanced. And because of this advanced technology, the perfectly abortion can be taken up and the safety of the women can be taken into consideration during the entire period of the pregnancy is being argued and challenged by the plea, that is in the plea by the women, against the constitutional validity of certain provisions of the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 1971. So this is the analysis of the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 1971, which will be crucial for prelims as well as mains perspective. And now we'll look at that how to fight the climate change. And definitely we have seen that Trump administration has pulled out of the Paris climate deal. But again, the Joe Biden administration is certainly wanting to go beyond the pull or the way the Trump administration has pulled out of the Paris climate deal. The Joe Biden administration would wish to again get back to the mode of fighting the climate change, being part of the entire United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. And Now, the US Special Envoy, that is Mr. John Kerry, has reached India and is in India for a 4-day visit. And then this 4-day visit is to prepare the entire ground for the US President Joe Biden's climate change summit, which is scheduled on April 22, 2021. And in this 4-day visit to India, Mr. John Kerry, the US Special Envoy, has said that India is a red-hot investment opportunity because India is a clean energy shift. Because India is shifting towards clean energy, and that is why India is a red-hot investment opportunity, is a statement made by the US Special Envoy, that is Mr. John Kerry. And he has suggested that to India that having US as a partner in tackling the climate change is a unique advantage to India. And definitely India has to take the advantage of the statement made by John Kerry and by the Joe Biden administration to fight against the climate change and to be part of the, once again, back to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. That is in regards to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, that is specially focusing on the Paris Deal of 2015. And Mr. Kerry, while he was on the 4-day visit to India, he has met the Environment Minister and the External Affairs Minister, along with the Prime Minister and the Petroleum Minister and the Minister of State for Renewable Energy. And this meeting of the US Special Envoy with so many ministers along with the Prime Minister speaks volume about the importance and the strategic importance of the meet and the climate change summit, which is supposed to take place on April 22nd, 2021 by the US President Joe Biden. And Mr. Kerry has also said that US is committed to bring emissions to below 1.5 degrees Celsius, and it also hopes that India would also be part of the cutting of the carbon emissions to protect the entire earth, that is in regards to the climate change. And both the countries, that is US and India, have discussed various or range of issues including the climate change and joint research and collaboration, so that the technology would be provided to India to make sure that India cuts the emissions, carbon emissions, and then it is also part of being committed to bring the emissions below 1.5 degrees Celsius. So there is a climate finance and joint research collaborations have been discussed between both the countries. And this information is now to be looked at the climate change, that is in regards to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, and also focusing on global warming, how US is taking the initiative and how India has also taken initiative right back in the year 2015 itself, that India has come up with the International Solar Alliance with India and France, which have come together. So definitely India is at the forefront to fight against the climate change. And now India has to take advantage of the climate finance and the joint research and collaboration to make sure that India is also part of bringing emissions below 1.5 degrees Celsius to cut the emissions. And I hope this session was informative, knowledgeable, and also very crucial for mains as well as prelims of UPSC perspective. And I would say a very big thank you to you all and a good luck to you all. And then do maintain consistency, stick to your schedule, and take care of your physical health and mental health. And do not forget to like the video, share the video, and subscribe the AKS IAS Academy English Medium YouTube channel. And also do not forget to have access to the website and also to the Telegram link of AKS IAS Academy, that is Advanced Knowledge System. And then see you again tomorrow with the daily news analysis at AKS IAS Academy. Till then, thank you, goodbye, and then take care.